Well, I am thrilled to be joined by Alan Strimmel with TwinSpires Sportsbook. He's the VP of Sports as we talk about the launch of TwinSpires in Colorado. And fittingly, it's during Kentucky Derby week. So, Alan, thank you for taking the time to chat with me about this and the launch of TwinSpires.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here.
How excited are you to launch the sportsbook in Colorado?
Well, we're just tremendously excited to be part of the online betting space in Colorado. It's a great market, dedicated fans, informed base of sports fans, and launching today is huge for us. So adding another state is always great, and just couldn't be more thrilled about being in Colorado.
I mentioned it being Kentucky Derby week. Was that a part of the plan to launch it week of Kentucky Derby?
Well, with the Derby coming up, there couldn't be a better time to be a TwinSpires player. I know there's a ton of great weeks on the sports and racing calendar, but with the NBA, MLB, NHL all in full swing, with the Derby, it's pretty tough to beat.
What will separate TwinSpires from the other sports books that are currently up in Colorado?
So TwinSpires, we're backed by Churchill Downs, the home of the Kentucky Derby, and nearly 150 years of wagering history right here in the U.S. So, I mean, that's a huge part of our point of difference. We've been doing this a long time. We understand the market, and I think further expanding into sports is just such a natural progression for us. So we're going to leverage our experience in horse racing, and this particular audience, to build the best product, promotions, and experience for players.
In terms of the Kentucky Derby, what is there anything special planned? I mean, obviously it's the launch, but anything that Colorado horse bettors and even sports bettors can look for over the course of the next couple of days after the launch and going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be essentially round the clock promotions, betting opportunities, either on the newly launched TwinSpires Sports app or on our horse racing app. So you can find it all at TwinSpires.com, all the most up-to-date promos, player options, and on the sports side, if you're a new player registering now, you can have a chance to get up to $1,000 in risk-free bets, and just a daily stable of promotions that are constantly updating.
You mentioned that experience with Churchill Downs and the 150 years of betting. How does the experience of your launches in Indiana and Pennsylvania and Tennessee, to name a few, how does that help with Colorado?
Like with any team, experience is important. I think the experience we bring and draw into this is really crucial to what TwinSpires does. As we gain momentum with our launches in Pennsylvania and Indiana for TwinSpires earlier this week, in Michigan and Tennessee recently, it's just an exciting time. The process is smooth, players are happy, and working with great regulators in the state and our own internal teams, we're providing a more targeted experience to players wherever they are across the country where we operate.
Right now, there is a Bet America retail shop at Bronco Billy's. Is that going to be rebranded as TwinSpires in the future or right away? What is the plan with that?
No, absolutely. So we launched with our partners, Bronco Billy's, in mid-September, and actually recently have already rebranded that to TwinSpires. So that was done on March 5th.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Another exciting piece in the TwinSpires family of sports betting.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the Colorado market, I've talked with other operators. As you're just getting into it and you've researched it prior to the launch, what is possible for this young budding market that's about to go into its 1-year anniversary?
I think Colorado is going to be a really great state for us. It's going to be a good competitive spot. I think that's going to really benefit players. And I think, the players that are going to be with us or that are going to sign up in this early push are going to be happy, well rewarded, and well taken care of. And the players that aren't with us yet are going to be interested. So I think with the crossover into multiple verticals, including horse racing and what they can do during this week, one of the biggest weeks in horse racing at TwinSpires. And, I think the growth for Colorado is going to be really exciting for us.
With the market launching without major sports through most of the first couple of months and still having bettors wanting to be a part of it. What does that tell you about sports coming back? And as we finally start to come out of this COVID tunnel that we've all been a part of for a year, what does that tell you about the users in this market and their potential to get on board and start really getting into it?
Of course I'm biased, but sports are just such an important part of life and entertainment and bringing people together and just being really sort of dedicated fans. And I think, a company like us with TwinSpires offering the ability to get a little further into the game, bring another piece of that excitement home is, it's just part of life and is exciting. And, certainly as we get back into the swing of a bit more normality here, the sort of comfort of the sports calendar and the racing calendar is such a huge part of that for me.
Of course, if we're talking about sports betting in Colorado, I have to bring up table tennis. What is the deal, in your opinion, with Colorado and table tennis? Obviously, there wasn't anything to bet on, as I mentioned earlier, because of the pandemic, but it has stuck. Do you think it's here to stay? And why can't Colorado quit table tennis?
It wouldn't have been something I would have predicted before, but now that players have gotten a taste of it, I think it just kind of speaks to what is available from an international spectrum to be able to play, right? So it's the obvious stuff, the mainstream North American pieces, but I think when you sign up for to become a player at TwinSpires, you're just going to see the opportunities of more sports to learn about, to play and to bet on, and to gain some of that excitement. Table tennis being one of the ones with a lot of content. So, but similarly, when you look at all the options for international soccer, for racing, for the full gamut, it's not just the big sports in North America, that's for sure.
One of the things that operators talk about with Colorado is the tax-friendly rate, but also the extensive catalog that it offers. How big was that for TwinSpires to want to get into the Colorado market, and was that a part of the decision-making process?
Sure. I mean, we were really interested in Colorado from the start, and I think that's just a very nice part of it. I think like we talked about, the core sports are going to be what drives the majority of it, but I think the sort of opportunity to offer this wide of a spectrum is really great.
We mentioned the Kentucky Derby. It's also the NFL Draft. In terms of the Denver Broncos, that's obviously going to be the driver for this market, especially if they can get back to the level that fans and bettors
Mhm.
expect them to be. In terms of the Broncos, what do you see for them potentially in the draft? Where do you see them potentially going in terms of the odds? And then if they do get that, looking at the 2021 season potentially.
Yeah, so taking a look for the Broncos, I mean, they're plus 6,000, I think, right now to be Super Bowl champs this year. Which, if you believe and you like a long shot, that's a shot to take. Interested certainly to see what the Broncos are going to do. I've got not much of a read for their draft strategy coming in, and
I don't think anyone
well,
does at this
I,
point.
I will say there are some needs to fill, so there's a couple of ways they could go. But yeah, they're clearly not. Taking a look at the sports landscape in Colorado, they're not the Avalanche sitting there right now as top picks to win the Stanley Cup, and looking at sort of a balanced piece like that. But we'll have to see what the Broncos are able to do.
In terms of the Avalanche, what is it like to have a team like that in a potential market that is the favorite and has been from the beginning of the season? And you could also throw the Nuggets into that. And
Sure.
I'll ask you about Nikola Jokić here in a second to see about the MVP betting and the NBA MVP quotient of that. But what does a team like that? Because we mentioned the Broncos, and they're not exactly where everyone expects them to be. You mentioned the plus 6,000 odds to win the Super Bowl, but to have a team like that is the favorite. Does that typically lead to more excitement and action from potential bettors?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's something from our perspective. It's great to have teams that are really excelling, especially when we come into a new market. We know fans are passionate. We know they're going to want to supported the team with bets, and we're really excited about that. I mean, taking a look at how explosive the Avalanche are, how balanced they are, and what their upside is looking like. I mean, that's really exciting for us. And then same with Jokic's MVP campaign, so to speak, what he's putting up right now. There's going to be some offers on the TwinSpires site that can make that even a little more profitable for players, which is, really exciting and something we want to embrace as a sort of a celebration of Colorado. And I think sort of speaks to how we target coming into a state. So it's not just sort of a one size fits all stamp. We want to try and understand the unique audience everywhere we operate. I think that's a big part of it with these local teams.
Absolutely. In terms of Nikola Jokić and the Denver Nuggets, the fact that he's been able to keep this going even without Jamal Murray, what does that say about teams and odds? Because obviously, once LeBron James and James Harden got hurt, Joel Embiid has been
Embiid as well, yeah,
somewhat been injured and missed close to between 18 and 20 games. In terms of NBA betting, it's been the top sport the last couple of months. Why do you think that is?
I think it's such a great TV sport, the NBA, and I think taking a look at how consistent and dominant the Joker's been through a season like this, where we are seeing more injuries for key guys, and even some players like LeBron, who's been so durable through his career. I think it just speaks to what a special season that's been, and obviously opportunity knocks with Jamal going out. So it is a pretty clear-cut MVP case, and I think it's going to really obviously come down to the final stretch here to see if a guy like Embiid can come back and make enough of a difference to kind of derail that. So I mean, that's part of the big excitement with it, but also clearly why Jokic is favorite right now.
Yeah, and it's definitely fun. He would be the first Nuggets player to be the MVP, which is astounding when you look at the guys that they've had: David Thompson, Alex English, Dan Issel, even Carmelo Anthony in the early 2000s. So it's going to be a fun time, and it's a fun time for sports betting. We talked about the Colorado market. We have more states coming on seemingly every day. Our neighbors to the north in Wyoming are going to be offering sports betting. Arizona is going to be offering it. I asked you about the Colorado market. What is possible with sports betting in North America? And now we have to throw in Canada to that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's nothing but growth. Again, I'm going to be biased on this, but I think it's just such an important, fun, new opportunity. And you look at how markets mature, and the more players get their hands on the product, whether it's through the app or through desktop, or just sort of this supplemental way of watching and cheering. I think from there it sort of goes from the main money line spread and total markets into just some of the additional pieces and ways to bet, and not just pre-match, but betting live and betting championship futures and divisions and player props and all these pieces that are just so great for fans. And it's excellent for the stat heads and analytic guys out there that want to really dig into it and see what they can do, or it's just betting on that home team to win. And I just see nothing but growth. And from what is being produced right now and is sort of part of broadcasts, part of the national conversation, it's a kind of thing that's really exciting from the sports betting perspective, to really be included and just be this sort of huge driving piece of that.
And now you're officially launched in Colorado, and
absolutely
for the Kentucky Derby week. So congratulations on the launch, and good luck with whatever is bound to happen with this sports betting industry going forward. So Alan, I want to thank you again for taking the time to chat with me, and good luck with sports betting in Colorado.
All right, thanks so much. Appreciate it.